Hey everyone, it is me, Samantha. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to the Decades Challenge. I am so excited for the 1960s and I hope all of you are too. Now, I know it's been a very long time since we have been in Strangerville and since we have been with the Dempsey family, and I am super excited to finally be back. So I just want to say a quick thank you to all of you for sticking it out and being patient while I took my little hiatus. But I'm hoping it'll be well worth it. I have gone ahead and decided that I'm no longer going to be doing the crazy edited intros for each decade because that just makes it a lot harder for me to produce content for you guys quickly. And I've decided that I want to be able to actually commit to a schedule and actually be putting out videos for all of you. And those huge intros were just a lot of anxiety and pressure on me, which caused me to just not do anything. So I know that we're gonna miss the welcome to videos, but I think that we are more excited to catch up with the Dempsey family and see how the 1960s is going to treat them. So before we get into today's episode, we're gonna go ahead and read over the rules for the 1960s. Okay, so as we all know, there is Cute Coffee Gal's New Decades Challenge rules, which are a lot more updated and time appropriate and adjusted to the new packs that have come out. However, I started this challenge probably close to 2 years ago now, which is wild to think. And I think I'm going to continue on using the rules that I originally found. So I am going to link this in the bottom bar. However, I would recommend checking out Cute Coffee Gal if you are going to try the Decades Challenge because it's really well loved. So I'll put both down there. But we're gonna go ahead and show spoiler about the 1960s, the civil rights movement and sexual revelation. The 1960s, marriage between different ethnicities is now available. I think we all know that I have ignored that since day one because in my Sims world, it's a happy place and I think you can love whoever you want. The following careers have finally opened up: secret agent and astronaut and scientist. I think we all can think about little Patsy Poo when we see astronaut, so that's super exciting. Mothers with careers may take maternal leave during the 3rd trimester. They may also take maternal leave after the baby is born. Your Sims now can woohoo. They don't have to try for baby every time. Teenagers may now mess around. Every Sim who fought in the Korean War has survived and will receive a pension of $250 for every Sim who survived. I need to remember to give Jack money and whoever else survived the war. Better radios are now allowed. You can now have fancier sofas, beds, chairs, tables, and stairs. Oops, I think I ignored that a while ago. And tea brewers are now allowed. Such random rules. I always was worried about when my Sims could start drinking tea. But anyways, so this is some of the rules. Now, the Vietnam War did go from 1955 till I believe 1975. It was a very long war. So in some of the Decades Challenge rules, they do focus on the war in the 60s. However, for ours, it doesn't start until the 70s, which I think is good because I think we need a little bit of a break. We've had a lot of wars and a lot of loss. So I think we need to start having more babies. Alrighty, so we are actually starting here in the home of Stanley Dempsey. What a little cutie pie. So just a quick overview of Stanley Dempsey. He was Harry's firstborn child, and he had decided to go off to the war, World War II, when he was roughly 17 years old. I would say he was really young, but he wanted to be a part of the family and, support the cause. He respected that his grandfather Elias had served and passed in the World War I, and that his father was a veteran. And so I feel like Stanley really wanted to be a part of that legacy. Now, when Stanley was overseas, he did fall in love with a woman, and he did end up having a child by the name of Penelope. Now, unfortunately, her mother did pass away while giving birth to her, so Stanley didn't know about her existence at the time because he ended up going off to battle, was taken as a prisoner of war, and was rescued at the same time as Samuel Gibbs. However, he then found out about his child and decided to stay overseas to raise his daughter, Penelope. So Penelope is an outdoor enthusiast. I think she gets this from the fact that her and her father decided to move to Salvadorada, or Salvadorado. I always say that wrong. Someone will correct me. So she does have the collector trait, you know, being around her father, watching him be an archaeologist and doing his thing over there. However, she is a little bit clumsy, and I can see her being really free-spirited and kind of silly, and maybe not always taking things so seriously. So I don't think she cares too much about her looks, even though she's adorable. And she's more about adventure and her really close relationship with her dad. So Stanley and Penelope ended up moving back to Strangerville when Stanley heard of the passing of his sister Ami, who passed away in the Korean War. Now, I'm going to link all of these episodes that I'm referencing. That way you can go back and get a refresher, because I know it's been a really long time and there's so many characters. So hopefully with the pictures to remind you of the Sims and the episodes, we'll be able to fill it in. I even get confused. So we try our best to keep track here. We do try. So it's definitely going to be a big adjustment, I would imagine, especially for Penelope, because she has been living with her dad, just the two of them, since she's known. You know, it's always just been her and her dad. The one thing we love about Stanley and his story is the fact that he has a split family, and it's definitely a non-traditional family compared to most families at this time period. You know, his mother and father got divorced, so he's got step siblings or half siblings on both sides of the family. And I feel like Stanley, he's so used to having lots of siblings, so I could see him really wanting that for his daughter. You know, maybe he felt like her being out in the middle of nowhere wasn't really great for her. I could see him really wanting her to get to know the family and be close with them, because that's what he's so used to. Whereas Penelope doesn't really know anybody yet. She's just moved here. But we will tomorrow, because it's getting pretty late. Tomorrow these two are going to head over to see Carrie and Uriel, his mother and stepfather. That way he can introduce his daughter and also just check in on the family, because obviously, you know, he really cares about his parents and he wants to make sure that everybody is doing okay since he's returned. Okay, so Penelope's awake. She's got to go bathroom. Let's get her ready for her first day, quote unquote. Her first day at the new school. I'm sure she's probably a little nervous. How's her hygiene? It's pretty good. But we'll have her wash her hands and brush her teeth so she feels good for school. So I think she's probably getting pretty nervous. It's summer. It's probably, yeah, it's getting close to fall. So this would be when the school year is starting. So I'd say we're in mid-September or late September here. And yeah, I'm really excited to see how it goes. I hope she makes some friends at school. And while she's at school, we'll have Stanley go over and check on Harry throughout the day. Okay, so she's ready for school. Stanley's going to tell her to have a great day. And I think that Penelope is really good at being happy and joking around and being a little quirky, but I do think that that is a little bit more of a cover for the fact that she's scared and that she's not used to being around so many people. It's just been her and her dad for a long time. So I'm sure Penelope would be like, "It's fine, Dad. There's nothing to worry about. I'm gonna be fine." But I do think in her heart, I do think she's probably pretty nervous. So she's off to high school in a new town where she doesn't know anybody. So I really hope she makes some friends today. So I can imagine Stanley being really nervous. I think that Stanley probably has a little bit more hands-on approach, maybe almost like a helicopter dad, because it's always just been the two of them. And he's also experienced a lot of trauma in his life with the war. What is he doing? He's gonna stretch. With the war and with the loss of his, partner, Penelope's mom. So I can see him probably dealing with a lot of PTSD and anxiety. So I think he probably is overly paranoid when it comes to being a father. I could see him, you know, not necessarily wanting her to make a lot of new friends that he doesn't know, or a boyfriend, you know, or a girlfriend. I could see him being more like, just hang out with the kids, you know, you got 100 cousins, you'll have so many friends with the cousins. But yeah, so we're gonna have him head over to the family farm. Fortunately, he's purchased a home really close to the Dempsey farm, and I think he's done that because his dad's getting older and he wants to be able to be close to take care of his father and help out around the farm as much as he can. Alrighty, so here we are at the family farm. It's so cool to see it. It has changed and grown so much over the years. We're gonna check here on Harry and Hiromi. Now, recently, Harry and Hiromi have actually suffered a loss in the family. Hina has passed away, which was Hiromi's aunt. Unfortunately, you know, Harry and Hiromi are seniors. They are old. So it really didn't make much sense that Hina was still alive. So I did go ahead and have her pass away from a stroke or a heart attack. She actually passed away from a wild rabbit attack. But I thought that was a little too dramatic. So we're just gonna say she died of old age. So they're dealing with the loss in the family, as well as the fact that Betty's twin brother, has just moved out. So Stanley is going to check on his dad and make sure he's doing okay. What I've decided, where is Betty? I feel like Betty's probably somewhere along here. Somewhere. She was here. Where did she take off to? Betty, where'd you go? Oh, she's downstairs using the typewriter. Now, Betty, I think it's kind of been a general consensus for all of us that we felt that Betty should be the heir of the Dempsey family farm. We never really were too close with Benny, so with Betty wanting to open her bakery, an amiable, in honor of her late sister, she's gonna stay close to home. She's gonna care for her parents, the farm, and of course use the stuff from the farm in her bakery so she can make fresh baked goods and different things, which I think is appropriate too, because in my opinion, I know it's dark down here, I haven't developed this basement yet, but in my opinion, she looks the most like Elias. She's our little Elias clone for the next generation. So she's gonna be staying here at the family farm, taking care of her parents. Oh, look at them blowing kisses. Oh, he gets weak in the knees. I get weak in the knees. It's a good song. I do think that Betty will feel a lot of pressure in taking over the family farm. You know, I don't know if her dream to be a baker is truly hers, or if she's just trying to respect and honor Ami in her passing, and that's her way of grieving. So I do think that there is a lot to unpack with Betty and her life, and I do think it's going to be very interesting to see how it all plays out for her, because I think that she's going to have a lot of personal discovery and growth in the next generations to come. So I'm really looking forward to exploring that. But I am gonna have Stanley go down and talk with her. I wish that they would talk upstairs where it's not so dark. We'll have to figure out what we want to do with this basement at some point. But I think Stanley is going to, you know, he didn't really get to know his siblings very well. So I do think that he would want to try to get closer with them, find out what she's interested in, just get to know her a little bit better, because he doesn't really know his sister that well. And also kind of reassure her, like, you know I've been gone for a long time, but, you know, I'm just down the street. So if you need anything, you know, with mom and dad, just please feel free to let me know, and I will be right over. Like, you're not alone. And just let her know that, like, he's gonna be there as a brother to help support her, especially now that Benny's gone. He's like, listen, you know, like, anything you need, just give me a call, I'm happy to help you. And Betty's gonna be like, I'm fine, I've been doing this for years, you don't have to worry about me. So I do think that Betty has a little bit of pride, and I think that Stanley is probably trying a little bit too hard to overcorrect his absence. So again, I do think there's that dynamic there where, you know, yeah, it's nice to have you home, but you've been gone for so long, so I'm not probably gonna ever ask you for help. So I do think that Betty probably has a little bit of pride, and maybe she's trying to prove herself to her family and stuff that, like, she's got this, you know? So I do think that these two may have a little bit of a strained relationship before they get super close. So we've checked in on the Dempseys. We are gonna actually travel over to see his mom, Carrie, and his father, his stepfather. And when Penelope's out of school, we'll just bring her over to his mom's place. Now, I don't know if y'all remember when there was a live stream when I was like, someone had babies and I couldn't remember who had the mysterious babies. Well, after I put my detective hat on, I discovered that the babies were actually Alicia Mead's babies. So Stanley had a sister named Alicia who passed away in the Korean War. But before she left, she actually ended up having twins. So there was 2 baby boys, Brandon, and we also have Romeo. Where are you, Romeo? I guess I should probably knock on the door so I can get into this house. But I've done so much detective work, and no matter how hard I try, I cannot figure out who the baby daddy is. I have no clue. Where's Romeo? Romeo, where art thou, oh Romeo? Oh, that worked too good. Let's see. Carrie is in the pool. I don't know why Carrie looks like that. She keeps losing her hair, but I don't know where this other child is. He can't be too far. This is a pretty modern house. We're gonna have to give them something a little bit more time appropriate. There is another baby. But anyways, oh, he's on the couch here. Okay, so we've got here Romeo Mead, super cutie pie, and his twin brother over here, Brandon or Brendan? What's his name? Brandon. So they're 2 random boys. Wasn't expecting them. They're super cute. And actually Marisol, Stanley's youngest half-sister, has been living with his stepfather and his mom and taking care of her late sister's boys. So that's a mouthful. So many Sims. We have so many Sims. So it's pretty cool to see his half side of the family growing. I'm gonna have him go ahead and introduce himself to everybody, and he can kind of do a nice little, you know, hey Uriel, it's great to see you. Not. Although Uriel's been very good and has helped out the family and has been really good. Carrie was the problem, let's be honest. So Stanley is here to say hello to everyone. He's gonna check in on Marisol and ask her, you know, how are things going. So he's gonna be like, so what's going on here? You know, I wasn't expecting these kids. And she's gonna be like, they're Alicia's. She had them before she left for war. And Stanley, of course, was overseas. So how could we have told you? We thought you were gone too. So Stanley's like, yeah, you're right. You know, I've missed a lot. So he's gonna check in on her and be like, how are you? Are you okay? Like, do you need anything? Like, I'm home now. So again, I think, like I said, I think that Stanley has this mentality of, you know, wanting to help everybody, having a little bit of guilt for being gone so long, being one of the only men in the family that's left, and, you know, wanting to make sure everyone's okay. So I think he's overcompensating for his own, you know, feelings of guilt and shame for being away. I don't think he's getting along too well with his sister right now. You're too full of yourself. The Sims errs on being full of themselves and not gaining any favor in Stanley's eyes. So it looks like him and his sister, I think in general, Stanley's gonna have a really hard time with his sisters. It kind of makes sense because the 1960s was a time period where women started to feel more like they wanted to be independent and not rely on the men. Maybe part of that stemmed from so many men being taken away from all of the wars that women felt like they had to start stepping up more and They started realizing that they were just as capable as the men, and they wanted to fight for that. So, you know, having this guy who hasn't been around just waltz into her home and be like, I'm here to solve all your problems. I could see her being like, who are you? Like, I don't need you. I've been taking care of mom and dad and these babies for many years. You can go on your way. I am just fine. So I feel like Marisol is probably like, whatever. Betty is like, whatever. Meanwhile, Stanley is like, let me fix everything. I love you all. Stanley is coming from a good place, but, you know, it's definitely a huge, it's definitely a hard challenge for everybody to work into this family dynamic with people being gone and wars and marriages and babies. You know, it makes it hard. Okay, so Penelope is here. I am curious to see how her first day at school went. Did she make any friends at school? It doesn't look like she's met any friends. She doesn't get along with Macy. Do you know how many people don't get along with Macy? Macy needs to be gone, and so does William Clinton. We're gonna, you know, pull the plug on them and put them in the family grave. I also put Hina in the family cemetery as well. And in the next few episodes, you guys are going to see a lot of deaths, unfortunately, because we have Sims that just shouldn't be alive anymore, and I want to get the ages and stuff and the progression back to being more accurate. So we're going to have some sad episodes in the next few episodes, and I hope y'all are ready for it. So I'm going to have her maybe come over, be friendly. Small talk. Here we go. She's gonna go ahead and try to get to know her grandma. She keeps going home. Get back here and go inside. She is not interested at all in meeting these people. Dad, I just want to go home. I spent the whole day at school. I need to do homework. And he's like, you need to meet your grandmother. She's like, whatever, Dad. So we'll have her come over and get to know Uriel a little bit. She can meet her cousins. Carrie, when she was younger, wasn't the best mother. I think we can all agree on that. But I do think that she, you know, from the loss of her son and, you know, now her other daughter, Alicia, from wars, she served in the military way back when. She's one of the Sims we're gonna have to soon. But my point is that I think that she's learned to appreciate and love family and want to be there to, you know, right some of her wrongs and, you know, try to get to know her grandkids. So we have a lot of family dynamics going on, and this is just with Stanley alone and his family. We haven't even touched the other families yet, but I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope all of you are too. So I'm just gonna have them eat quickly, and then we're gonna send them home. So I think that Carrie is gonna try really hard to, you know, be someone in Penelope's life. And I think that Carrie is even gonna say to Stanley, like, thank you so much for coming over to visit. I really appreciate you checking in on me and Uriel. And Stanley's gonna say, no problem, Mom. Like, I know you guys don't need my help, but, you know, I'm always here. Just please let me know if you guys need anything. And I think, again, Carrie wants to make good. So I feel like I could see her saying to Stanley, like, you know, I'm really sorry for not being a great mother when you were young. And I'm sorry that I abandoned you. And, you know, I'm just so happy that you're alive and that you've got this beautiful daughter. And I hope that we'll be able to, you know, make a lot of memories moving forward. And, you know, leave what's in the past. And that's all Stanley wants. I think Stanley has this picture perfect idea of, like, making sure the family's really close again, because war has destroyed his family and caused branches and people to go off in their own direction. So I feel like that's kind of Stanley's mission in life, is to kind of repair the damage, which isn't always easy. But we are going to send these two home because it is late, and this little girl's got school in the morning. Go home, you two. No, don't sleep in beds. Go home. So Stanley and Penelope are home safe and sound, and we are actually heading over to Glimmerbrook. So we've got Benny Dempsey over here in Glimmerbrook. Let's go check in on him, and I'll show you his house. Alrighty. so it's pretty late, so I kind of feel bad bugging little Benny here. But as we all know, Benny is Betty's twin brother. He is Harry Dempsey's one of his youngest children. And this is his house. I've only renovated his living room because Benny doesn't have a lot of money. However, Benny has decided to move to Glimmerbrook and become a teacher. He is a Renaissance sim and he wants to know everything, and he wanted to get out on his own, have some adventure. You know, the last few years have been pretty hard on him with the loss of his sister, his, parents getting older. And I think that Benny has always felt like he's kind of been in the shadows when it comes to his family because there's been so much going on. So I think he's decided he wants to get out on his own and start his own life. And I think that that's pretty true to how we've played him. So I'm really excited to see how his life goes. Zoe went under the couch. He's moved out with his family doggo because he didn't want to be alone, and neither did Zoe. So he's got Zoe. They're pretty good buds. And look at him, Zoe's his best friend. I think it's really good for him because he's been, kind of just the yes man to his family and his sister, who can be a little bit like Emma and all of the Dempsey women before her. Whereas Benny, I think, just wants to be, he wants new experiences. He just wants to figure out who he is. Plus, he is a twin, so I feel like sometimes as a twin, it can be harder to have your individuality. And I think that he wants to figure out who he is without his family. To me, he seems already pretty happy. I think the space from family and the quiet and the peace of mind, and knowing that he has a job and that he's working on something for himself, I think he's in a pretty good place. So I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap today's episode here. We have covered a lot of Sims, and expect a lot of episodes to start coming out rapid fire. Because with the new format, with me not doing the face cam and without doing, crazy intros, it's going to be a lot easier for us to keep up with all of the Sims. So I hope you all are looking forward to it. Let me know what you think so far. Let me know what plans and ideas you have, or what things you see for these Sims. And thank you again for watching. I appreciate it as always, you know that. And until next time, I'm going to say bye for now.